Right. Well, here's what I'm thinking. If we get the House and the Senate to proceed with the impeachment, and if we take it on with Sheriff Joe Arpaio's investigation on the fraudulent birth certificate, which to hell with the people that claim birther. The birth certificate that Obama put up on the White House website was a fraud. I used Photoshop. I know how it's layered. I know how you can take a document apart if it's been created on that. There's no question. He could have been born in Washington, D.C. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying he's not an American. What I am saying is that document was fraudulent.
Oh,
using what's that?
There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt. And using a fraudulent ID to get into office is a federal crime. So that once we get this evidence presented on the floor, and it should be and hopefully will be televised, once it's a formal Senate investigation, shame on anybody that votes to let the man slide on it. Shame on them, because they will lose their seats next. We may not be able to get him impeached because, he passed an executive action or he did this or he did that. But when you've got a felony that he's committed in order to get into the office, he should be able to not only be impeached, but to have his numbers taken off the books, to remove everything he's ever signed once it's proven that he's ineligible to ever have been the president. I think if we go after him on the birth certificate issue, the fact that he's using a Social Security number that was previously issued to somebody else and somewhere along the lines preempted, I think once this stuff is heard on the Senate floor and presented by professional investigators, professional prosecutors, I think he's an impeachable dude. 2/3 of the Senate.
There's so much that, and then there's just so much that he's done. He's walking around with somebody else's Social Security, or I think I've heard he has 2 different numbers, and everything he's done is just, Benghazi. I mean, Benghazi, the extortion 17, IRS scandal. That there's not even a smidgen of scandal there, but it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. He's spreading out, touching more people. I mean, there's just so much that if he can't be, then nobody should ever be brought up for it again, because he is the walking case of somebody that can't be impeached in my book.
Absolutely. I mean, look what happened with Nixon. He resigned over a burglary thing in which nobody got punched in the nose. With Obama, we've got blood on his hands, blood on Hillary Clinton's hands. These guys were over there asking for help and being told no. The military was ready and told to stand down. Just so many things that he's done. Even the inaction stuff where he's firing the top brass of the military. He's done everything, as I say week after week here. And as you see on your show, he's done everything possible to destroy America and the American way of life.
Well, yeah, I mean, another big one I forgot is the Fast and Furious scandal, where he's got Border Patrol agent, his blood on his hands from shipping guns over to Mexico.
Now, I read something today, and it was in passing because I was operating a motor vehicle while I was reading my news. But I saw something about Holder finally released some 60,000 documents that have been subpoenaed and refused to be given up. 60,000 documents pertaining to Fast and Furious. So I think they see the writing on the wall. We're coming after you. You had best start cooperating. Brother, we got another break coming up. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Obamacare. 215,000 doctors have opted out of the Obamacare system. That's 1 in 4. That's devastating alone. But stick with us. We'll be right back, all right?
If the truth hurts, then AM 1050 KCAA can be a real pain.
Tom O'Halloran has a not-so-common core spelling lesson for the Obama administration. Ready? There is no K in America.
There's kids that can't pray in school, $100 tanks of gas. I can tell you right now, this country ain't supposed to be like that. No, that ain't my America. That ain't this country's roots. You wanna slam, hold on to Sam, but I ain't letting you. Yeah, I'm mad as hell, and you know I still bleed red, white, and blue. They ain't us, and that ain't my America. Oh no, that ain't my America. No, 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 no. That ain't my America.
Welcome back. This is the Wednesday night edition of the Patriot Radio Show with Tom O'Halloran, and it's a celebratory tone. Outstanding election results last night, picking up the historic highs of Republicans in the House, picking up a good majority in the Senate. Governorships, we've got 24 wins as compared with the Democrats winning 10. Mia Love finally got into the House. God bless her. What an energetic soul she is. Brian, you still with me, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
All right. As I mentioned before the break, 215,000 doctors refusing to participate in Obamacare. 70% of doctors in California of all places, are refusing to participate. All those idiots voted for Obamacare, and the doctors are saying, we're not going to do this. It's going to be a mess. If it's not just totally taken apart and defunded and repealed, it's just going to implode on itself, because adding more people and taking away 25% of the doctors, the math just doesn't add up, does it, brother?
Not at all. And what I've heard is kind of striking about this is 24 of the Democratic senators that have ran for re-election, or a lot of them didn't even decided not to run. They decided to go ahead and retire. But all of them have been defeated because, mainly because of Obama, and the real effects of Obamacare hasn't hit yet. By the time they had these runoffs in Louisiana, where Landrieu, she was bought off and paid for her yes vote on Obamacare, they'll be feeling it, because it's coming up in short 2 months away, and I think all the effects will be hitting them hard, and I don't think she has much of a chance anyway, since 2 Republicans in that state, they add their votes together, got her beat pretty handily, but America's about to be slapped about between the eyes about what the Obamacare is really going to do to them. Is going to raise everything about the medical. Your insurance is going to go through the roof, and the care is going to go down to the floor. It's going to be a lot worse and a lot less of it. And then you get, like me, right now I'm having a hard time getting into the doctor. I've been trying to get in the doctor for 3 weeks, and I just can't do it. It's impossible.
Well, Obama had put out the word to the insurance companies about a month and a half ago, do not release any 2015 premium pricing to anybody until after the election. They know how ugly it's going to be. If the Democrats think it was a slaughter this time, it's going to be a lot worse in 2016, because they're deliberately hiding the truth from them.
Yep.
Thinking that without bad news coming out of Obamacare, maybe they'd hold on to the Senate. That didn't happen. So they're fixing to get some real bad news when this new round of premiums get released.
There's another thing you can add to your list of Obama's unconstitutional acts. Changing the law with a stroke of a pen, where he took away the business mandate and all that stuff, step by step, just changed the Obamacare bill at his own second call. I mean, picking and choosing what he wanted to support on it. I mean, that's illegal. So, I mean,
changing the law. Changing the law, which he has no authority to do. And he's done it about 8 times, I think, on that law alone.
Yeah.
On Obamacare alone, he's made 8 unilateral changes to it, and he has no authority to make any.
Exactly. I mean, that right there tells you everything you need to know, that whenever that takes effect, he thinks it's going to be a legacy bill. That's going to be the cinder block that sinks into the bottom of the ocean, because that bill is not going to do anything good for America. It's going to ruin us. It's going to ruin our health care system, which was probably the best in the world. And now we're going to having a medical system like Cuba. We'll have some good doctors out there, but people are going to have to pay cash or have some other way of paying it, because they're not going to accept Obamacare. They will not.
That's right.
They've already turned it, what'd you say, 215,000 already turned off on it, and it hasn't even really kicked in yet.
And so, Obamacare really is the only thing that he's accomplished. So his entire legacy is going to self-implode even more so than it already has. And his legacy will be crapola.
He had 2 years where he had the Senate and the House, and that was all he got through. I mean, he could have done a lot of stuff.
Well, he didn't even push it through then.
Yeah,
he didn't push it through when he had control of it. He waited till we got the House, and then he force-fed it by buying off a few pseudo-conservatives that took a bribe to climb on board.
Yep.
So
and they're all out of there.
Exactly. So it's going to come apart at the seams. It's going to come apart at the seams. Dale in the chat room mentions that he saw Mike Smith. I'm at a loss where he's from. I'm thinking Oklahoma. But he was saying something about stopping the executive orders. I'm not sure what they can do on that, Dale. Executive orders are executive orders. But while we can't repeal them, we may be able to defund them, or I don't know how we would get them declared invalid if they're unconstitutional. I'm guessing we'd have to go back to court and sue the guy on that, which is depressing because government departments aren't supposed to be suing each other. It's supposed to be settled constitutionally. You do your job. You pass bills. I do my job. I sign bills. And they do their jobs. They judge the constitutionality of it.
Yep, that's the way it should work, but not with this president and this regime. The Constitution is nothing but something that's hung over at the Library of Congress. That's all it is. It's just a decoration for that building. It doesn't carry any weight with this guy. He's always trying to find a way to get around it. The way he looks at it is it's a way to slow down what he wants done, and he just totally ignores it. But defunding each one of those is about the only way you could do it. Don't give him any money for any of that stuff, and then he'll have to stop doing it. But
right. But I mean, there are things like opening the borders. Well, that doesn't really cost a lot of money, so there's not a lot of expense there. So in those cases, what's that?
Stop suing the states that want to handle it themselves. Let them handle it if they can afford to handle it. Like Texas, let us do a job that he's not doing. I mean, we'll do it, and we'll do it better because we want it done. They don't care about it. So that Texas, Arizona, I'm not sure if New Mexico even cares. I haven't heard anything from that state, but I know Texas and Arizona have tried to stop that flow of immigrants from the border. But
Arizona's pretty blue. I don't think they much care.
Yep.
Which is hard for me to wrap my head around since they're down here. in the South. You'd think they'd all have a similar mindset being alongside the border, but yeah, funding is